Hello everybody! I've seen a lot of people struggling with the Guardian Druid Mage Tower challenge, and the most guides are over 20 minutes long, and since nobody wants to watch a 20-minute video only to fail the challenge anyways, I decided to sum up the most important stuff for you. This guide will be split in 3 parts, first the preparation, then the fight itself, and at the end some little tips and tricks you can use during the fight. So let's start with the preparation. Since your item level gets lower to 50, your current Shadowlands gear gets scaled down. Because of that we can also use some older gear, which is easier to obtain, and we can vary the stats a little more. The easiest way to get good gear for this challenge is by simply buying it for Nether Shards. Perhaps you still have some Nether Shards in your bag, otherwise you can get them all over the Broken Shore by killing wares, open chests, etc. And at this vendor here, you can buy almost every slot, and the stats of the gear are a bit random. Also, these items can have gem slots, which would be really useful to further improve your gear. Since those are item level 50, you can use old enchantments on them. And with the gear being scaled down, it's also a good idea to use some old trinkets, since their effects can be really OP. I personally chose the Ghost Iron Dragonling, a trinket built by engineers you can just buy from the auction house, as well as a Ravaged Seed Pod. This item drops from the first boss of the Emerald Nightmare raid, and you can get it on each difficulty, means LFR, Normal, Heroic and Mythic, so the odds are pretty good that you get it. What you also want to do is using your old artifact weapons. If you haven't played Guardian Druid during Legion, it's even better, since when you first get these weapons, they are just item level 20, which means you can use old enchantments on them. And you want to use Crusader on both of them. After that you want to farm these artifact relics to push the item level over 50, so you can also use Shadow Core Oil. If your Guardian Druid artifacts are already higher than 50, you can still use your Heirloom Weapons. And here's a list of every enchantment, gem and consumable you want to use. At last, let's take a look at your skills. You want to take Blood Frenzy, so you always have enough rage for your frenzied regeneration. Then you take Wild Charge, which allows you to charge in your bear form and to jump back in your moonkin form, both being lifesavers. You definitely want to take Balance Affinity, since in the first phase you will mostly play in your moonkin form. Now you can go either for Mighty Bash or Heart of the Wild. Mighty Bash gives you a 4-second stun, which can save you a few final seconds in the second phase. But I went for Heart of the Wild to finish the first phase fast enough to only have 2 of the Infernals. Then you go for Incarnation, Guardian of Ursoc, which is a better version of Berserk and gives some good damage in phase 2. Then you definitely want to go for Survival of the Fittest, decreasing the cooldowns of the defensives by 33%, which will give you much more time in the second phase. And finally I went for Rend and Tear, because in the second phase you have to do as much damage as possible, and with that you basically deal 6% more damage the whole time. Tooth and Claw is also a viable option though, and this is something you have to decide for yourself. Okay, with that being said, let's take a look at the fight. First you want to make sure that you have every consumable, every potion, buff food, augment wound, everything you can use active. You will start the fight in your moonkin form, and you should stand right here. Look at the pebble and at the green stuff on the ground to know where you have to stand. The first boss has an area around him that reduces your max HP, and you don't want to have more than 5 stacks at any point. That's why we start as moonkin. You will start the fight with a Starfire. After that you activate your Heart of the Wild, followed by a Sunfire and a Moonfire to apply the dots on the boss. Then you cast another Starfire, and now the first eye should have been spawned. These spawns will cast a beam that will knock you back if you don't look at them. You instantly use a Moon or a Starfire on him. Thanks to your Heart of the Wild, he will die before you get knocked back. So just focus on the boss. Use your instant Star Search and then spam Wrath until he wants to cast Drain Life. When the Drain Life cast comes through, instantly use Typhoon to knock him back and keep casting Wrath. At this point, Venom will have spawned the first Light Orb, and the first 4 Nether Horrors will appear as well. They will walk straight to Velen, and that's fine. you simply go there and use the trinket to put that little pool on the ground. That's all you do. These Never Horrors will cast Neverstorm, a pulsing AoE cast that would kill Velen in an instant, so you want to interrupt them with Incapacitating War. After that, you just keep attacking the boss in your Moonkin form. Then he will cast his second Drain Life, and to interrupt this, you simply walk into the Light Orb. These orbs will not only CC every enemy, but also heal you and your allies to 100%. Shortly after, the first Infernal will spawn, and these will lose HP over time until they reach 10%. Then you can simply kill them off with your melee attacks, but until then, stay away from them, since they deal AoE damage around them and they can knock you back. And yeah, at this point just keep fighting the boss. When he wants to use Drain Life, use either Skull Bash or Typhoon. Kill the eyes with Moonfire and kill the Never Horrors. You can use a trinket for every second wave of them, so that's not the problem. If you have to, use the Light Orbs, but make sure you have 2 or 3 of them when you go into phase 2. Now, phase 2 is the tough part. The eyes don't spawn anymore and neither do Infernals, but the Infernals you have from phase 1 are still around, and he will still summon the Never Horrors and has 3 very important abilities. First, Annihilate. This is the soft enrage of his fight and it deals 110% more damage every time he uses it. And also Twisted Reflection, a spell that has to be interrupted at any cost. His other ability is called Shadow Sweep and he will summon 3 shadow walls that pushes you away. This can be a problem because you might fail to reach the Never Horrors or the Light Orbs. Also, he sometimes jumps at you, creating these green void zones on the ground, and they deal some damage, but they are not that big problem. When the first Never Horrors spawn, you want to use all your offensive cooldowns. Incarnation, drums, potions, everything you got. You still need to interrupt the Never Horrors though. Don't be shy to use an orb if you are struggling. When he uses his second Annihilate, use your Barkskin to survive that. Also make sure to be at 100% HP at this point. Use your Frenzy Regeneration or an orb to make sure of that. Add-ons like Deadly Boss Mods can really help you preparing for that. When you see the spell is coming, be prepared. The third Annihilate will be blocked away with Survival Instincts and an instant Frenzy Regeneration after that. Shortly after that, he will cast another Twisted Reflection. Interrupt that or the try is over. When he uses the next Annihilate, you want to use Survival Instincts and Barkskin. I would recommend to make a macro for this. Also, this is the final Annihilate. The next one cannot be survived. So if you made it this far, you are in the endgame now. And all that matters is to keep doing damage, don't die, make sure your allies don't die either. Use your CCs wisely and don't be shy to use an orb. If you die however, like I did here, this might not be the end of it. As long as your allies still live, they can still finish the boss, and yeah, that's pretty much it. However, I still have some little tips and tricks for you. If you get knocked away from an eye or an infernal, you can either use your charge or your backward jump to recover. You can also use goblin gliders for that. When you interrupt the Nether Horrors just after they finished their cast, they are not able to recast it. When you heal yourself in phase 1 with any hot, the Nether Horrors will come straight to you instead of Velen. For some reason this only works in phase 1. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Very important for this encounter is to not give up. Don't think you are too bad for this or whatever. This is not about knowing your spec perfectly, this is about knowing this encounter perfectly. Knowing what you have to do at which situation. And it doesn't matter if you need a couple hundred tries for this. All that matters is that you don't give up, and then you can do this. So, I wish you good luck, and I hope I could help you. If yes, give me a like, or not. I don't really care, to be honest. and see you next time. Bye!